All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Pastrami Nation After Hours. So, you know us from comic books, movies, toys, video games, conventions. This is going to be a little bit different. So, After Hours is about the conversations that men don't always want to have. So, from mental health to fatherhood, relationships, burnout, loss, we're going to tackle everything that we kind of shy away from. And we're not experts at this. We're just regular guys. We're just here to talk about it with our friends, and we want to be honest about what's going on in our lives, our experiences, and we hope that maybe somebody's listening and maybe they're in the same boat, and maybe this will help. So this is Pastrami Nation After Hours. This is more than pop culture. I'm Nolan Smith. I'm the editor and co-founder of Pastrami Nation, and we have a fun group today. We have joining us, we have Ethan. Hello, Ethan.
Hi.
We have fellow Pastrami Nation co-founder Jason.
Hi guys.
We have somebody I've known since like the 7th grade, Phillip. Welcome, Phillip.
Hello.
And if you're a Pastrami Nation podcast viewer, you know who the next person is. We have the host of the Pastrami Nation podcast, Kevin.
Hello, guys. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
So, right off the bat, let's talk about it. Growing up, what were you taught, whether it was directly or indirectly? What did it mean to be strong? What did it mean to be a man growing up?
Well, you couldn't cry. Yeah.
When could you cry, Phillip?
I couldn't. In the rain or the shower. I can only cry in the rain or the shower, man. Still use that to this day. Like, if it's not raining, I'm in the shower. But, yeah, I was told, like, strong men don't show emotions because they're so strong. They don't get affected by anything. And if you're crying, you're weak. And it's like, well, I must have been weak a lot because I cried a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a strange perspective. I grew up without my father, without my brother, and I was raised by a single mother and my sister. So I grew up in a lot of ways female, but also having to be the only male to not let them down. And so that built a very cosmic clash that is at the center of me with being able to have the feelings. And I have daughters, so I have to be able to relate to that stuff, but still having to be the man and then go into the Navy where it's all man, and that expectation. So I'm a little bit of a weird nugget. So I can cry on command at a shampoo commercial.
Yep.
I'll also punch somebody in the mouth. So it's
Sounds like a good balance now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So that's my little story.
Yeah. So I was a very, very emotional kid. I'm an emotional adult. I'm an emotional mess half the time. That's my mental health issues. But I think my growing up, it was very much like I was in Boy Scouts. I did all these like things that were expected boys to do, right? But like I really did not want to do any of it. Like that was not my thing. And I remember one specific incident when I was at my aunt's house. We were visiting, and my uncle was out there with us. It was me, my two cousins who are boys, and me. And there's this little wall. It's probably about, I don't know, like a 3-4 foot wall that they wanted us to climb over and like pull ourselves up on, but I couldn't do it because I was a little weak kid. And my cousins were these strong, they were in Boy Scouts too, but they were like these, the kind of the sportsy kind of kids that I was supposed to be, but I wasn't. But it destroyed me because I couldn't do it. And my uncle was just like, they were essentially just like laughing at me. And it gave me this complex of like, now I have to do this stuff to prove everybody wrong. Luckily, my dad was mostly not luckily, but like my dad was a single dad most of his life. My mom wasn't really in the picture. So he never pushed that on me. Like he was always very like, he wasn't an emotional person. I don't think I ever saw him cry. And it's still to this day, I've never seen him cry or anything like that. but he was always very open and willing. It was just me and my sister. And I don't think he really knew how to kind of raise us, but I think he kind of raised us the same way, where if we need to talk about stuff, we can talk to him. And of course, during the 80s and 90s, it was a whole different thing, right? I was born in 1980, and growing up in the 90s especially was a really, really hard time trying to find my place of who I was and my identity and all these things that kind of blended into, who I was as a person and what a real man is. And my dad really set the bar for that, as far as just supporting us, raising me and my sister, working full time. And that was kind of his way. I saw him doing that. So that's how I on the emotional aspect of it, he was gone most of the time. So I didn't really have anything to go off of. So it was just me and my sister a lot of the time. So I kind of gauge off of what she was doing and stuff like that. So there was an expectation to be a certain way, but I wasn't like that. I did it for a little bit, but then I pulled away as soon as I could. When I was by myself, when I found my group of friends, I started to really just kind of be who I wanted to be and who I needed to be. So, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, for us, we didn't have like that father figure. We had a monster in the house. A lot of physical and verbal abuse. And to me, now being a dad myself, like he showed me everything, like what not to do, right? Like he showed me everything that I will never do to Paul. And it's just like Phillip said, like you don't cry, you don't show emotion. And do you know what that gets you? Like that gets you ran into the ground. And I think we've all experienced that. And I think at times we still go there because it's what we know. Jason, do you have anything you want to add?
Oh boy, I think I'd have to do a whole podcast if I was talking about him. Like basically, we might as well have had a single mother too. But he was here on the couch, but he was always doped up or beating the shit out of my brother or gone to who knows where. Like he really taught me how to hide behind the orange tree when I was 5. So while he was beating up my 7-year-old brother, or he taught me how to hide or steal from Kmart later on. Like, oh, way to go, Dad. Perfect example. So, like, I could do a whole podcast of just, it's easier to count the things that were right with him.
Well, I knew about your guys' dad before.
I need like 8 hands to count the things wrong with him, Like,
right. And like Phillip said, he knew our dad before like he knew us, which is really crazy.
The stories that you would hear about him were just like, oh my gosh. And then there goes his tool truck down the road, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Hey, funny thing, in 3rd grade, I wanted fireworks, but we moved up here and we couldn't have fireworks. And I was used to having fireworks when we lived in Santa Ana because they could do that there. Well, out here, you can't do them in the high desert. Well, I didn't understand that because I'm a 3rd grader, and I'm crying because we can't get fireworks. What's my dad do? The thing any normal dad would do, beat the shit out of me and say, look, you little fat fuck. If we get fireworks, we're going to get fined $300. You know what's going to happen then? I'm going to sell you to the meat shop because you're worth $300 in the meat shop. Oh, fuck that motherfucker. Wow. $3,000 in the meat shop now.
That'll be another episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do family episode murder and both of our families.
Jason X.
Me not knowing all this going into it and hearing it, the thing I'm taking away though is that you were able to see it and then want to do better than that. Because most people, they get trapped in the regression of that abuse, and that's what they feel like they've got to do. And the fact that you state, I want to do better for my kids than that. That's a huge sign of your integrity. And without it, do you have that? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. To me, that's the worst feeling in the world, is if I would end up like him,
Right. And we're always very like, we always recognize that, like, we don't want to be like that. We don't want to be like that. And for a while, I was afraid to have kids or even start a family because I want to end up being like him. Thank God I'm not, except for the baseball hat thing. Like we all wear baseball hats.
But you don't chop the bill off of yours like a fucking idiot like he did.
He was an idiot. He would chop the bill and make it shorter. And then he would like color it in with Sharpie. I couldn't mutilate my hats like that. Like me and Jason are hat guys. Like we wouldn't do that.
our poor mom having to deal with this asshole. She did everything for us, and then this piece of shit did 0 to nothing. You know,
Right.
Yeah. And that's in my story, mine just disappeared. You know, my mom was everything, and I'm obviously a much better person for that. I'm glad he wasn't in my life because I hear he was a piece of crap. And so, you know, my brother and sister, however, weren't as lucky. So that, you know, I've seen the trauma that he could have created. I'm okay with that.
Right. Yeah, agreed. Right. You look at it and you're like, you know what? Yeah, life's okay without him. You know,
Yeah.
and look what you've
So
done.
I'm the
and
only one that
family you've
grew up
created.
in a 2-parent home.
Maybe yes, yes, you are.
What-
And I
so
always
who-
I remember my friends being like, "Oh, my dad. I wish my dad was there." And I was like, "I wish my dad would leave. Like, shit, he's always fucking here."
I wish mine would have left.
Phil, you're
Every
like
time I wish
Chris,
he wasn't here, he's fucking here.
you're like that comic. I think it's Chris D'Elia who says, you know, I don't know how I got so funny. My parents were amazing people.
Right? I had good parents.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember growing up seeing, you know, your parents like and thinking like, wow, how nice that must be. You know, like
Mhm.
our parents got divorced when I was in junior high.
I was a
So-
junior in high school. I remember that.
Yeah. I'd always look at Philip's mom and dad and be like, wow, like how cool, how lucky you are. Of course, that's just my perspective. And on the other side, he's probably like, dang it, you know.
Like,
Yeah,
I always got that ass whipping when your mom's like, "Wait till your dad gets home." Like, oh fuck, that motherfucker. He came home.
we had, you know, my dad and my mom divorced when I was like 9 years old, so it was different. And then my dad met my stepmom, who, you know, my brother Joseph and stuff like that. They had, you know, kids like that and stuff like that. So that's when he moved to the high desert when I was like 9 years old. We moved to Phoenix, and it was a very interesting, you know, even though my dad pretty much raised us, we had my stepmom there. But it was always weird to me when, you know, people like Philip, you know, his parents are still together. Like my wife right now, you know, her parents are still together.
They're not together anymore.
Oh, not anymore, but they were. Yeah, I mean, but like growing up, it was always weird.
21. When I was 21, and it messed me up, man.
Oh,
I
really?
thought I was like, you would have thought I was a little kid when they divorced. I was like, oh my god, because they were
Yeah.
together 25 years and then just called it quits. And it was like they were marriage counselors, like for the church and shit. And I was like,
That's
what just happened?
And that was for me. My best friends growing up, they had both of their parents. Like, and I loved that. I loved going over to their house because I didn't get to see that dynamic of husband and wife from anywhere else other than those homes. And so, yeah, it's kind of instrumental whenever you come across it to be able to separate what's reality and what's kind of fake, and it forms all those different opinions inside of you.
It is. And like me and my wife right now, you know, would like my kids' friends, like they come over and they're like, your parents are like still together? And like my daughter's like, yeah, like, you know, I mean, we've been together
None of
for
my kids can say that.
15 years now, right? Like, I mean, sorry,
I've been married twice.
Well, there you go. See, I mean, it's different for everyone, you know, but like, yeah, so it is nice being that, like, you know, that family where like, you know, we're able to kind of set the example for our kids and stuff like that, and being the parent and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah.
Right. Yeah, Philip's going for the punch card. You know, he's up. Yeah.
Phil's just too good for
good
any
teacher
one
goes on,
woman.
man.
The fourth one, the fifth one's free.
Who wants to
Oh,
love
man.
me?
That's gonna be like the standout of this whole episode. Who wants
Right.
to love me?
Yeah.
Well, if you know anything about Friends, I got my door painted like Friends, and I'm missing the little like picture frame. And there's an episode where it's like
Oh,
Ross Street, divorce history,
Christmas, Phil.
divorces.
Oh boy.
And that's gonna be me.
Didn't you used to have the whole set of Friends?
Oh, I still do in a box somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I took it from the.
Oh yeah,
from
I got the
ex-wife.
Lego, dude.
Yeah. I thought you lost it in the divorce. I remember that's the last time I heard, and I was like, oh,
No,
man.
I got it back. I got it
You got to
back.
keep Chandler.
All right. All right. Jumping on to the next question. So we all wear different masks, right? The funny guy, the strong one, the provider, the guy who always has everything under control. What mask do you feel you still wear right now? And why is it still a thing for you?
Mine's the funny guy. It just, I don't know. I like seeing people laugh now, so that's why it just sticks.
Yeah. Mine is that everything's under control and I'm not scared. Like it's every day's a struggle. Like just trying with dealing with my anxiety and like stressing about what's gonna happen next and like when the other shoe is gonna fall, right? When the other boot's gonna fall. But I have to, I have to go to work every day. I have to do my job. I have a customer facing job for the most part. So it's like I got to talk to people every day. I come home to be a husband, a good husband, even though I'm honest with my wife, like she knows what's up, but like you can't always be hiding in the corner, So like I got to be out here and being a dad. My kids are older now; they're 14 and 19, so it's like they're past kind of that where they need us to be there for them, But like I'm still trying to be there. I'm trying to force them to hang out with me now, whereas like before it was totally different. But like, so yeah, it's like wearing that mask of like everything's fine. I have everything under control. I'm not scared. Everything's going to be okay. When inside, I'm like yelling and screaming and just waiting, just anticipating the worst to happen any minute, any day, any hour, whatever the case may be. That's just, unfortunately, the process of anxiety and how it works.
I can totally relate to that. I go through the same thing. So
yeah, it's terrifying. It sucks. Yeah. But yeah.
Like you said, you push through it and do what you got to do.
You got to. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a little bit different perspective. I spent 26 years in the Navy, basically with multiple people's hands in my life, or life's in my hands, and then just one day you're just free of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been wearing this mask of somebody who's had it all figured out for so long. And now I'm starting over. It's a complete new chapter. I mean, I'm retired. I don't have to work if I don't need to. Mm-hmm. And now the lack of resistance is so crippling. It's all on you now. And every piece of your happiness, and it's all just back to you. You're it. And so it's it's a lot of trying to refigure out life and turning that chapter. We have chapters. We have our, till 18 when we become adult. We have our 20s and our 30s, and all of that's crazy. And it's a blur because you just powered through it. And then just to be dropped off outside the bus station.
It's like a divorce.
Yeah, outside the cell. It has been, very much like that. And there's been a lot of dark times, but it all comes down to like being real with yourself and knowing what reality is and taking reality on its terms and all of that cliche stuff. But I'm living life almost Benjamin Button. Most at my age are still working, and I just crammed it all into 26 years so hard that my body's a mess. And so yes, that trying to personify having it together when you've done so much, you've accomplished so much in your life it's a little bit insane.
That's wild. And I do got to say, I appreciate and respect that, because like, I can't even imagine, like my sister is the same way, she retired from the Navy after 25 years. So, but like, they just kind of, she went right after high school. So like right after high school and enlisted, got out. And then like, okay, what do I do now? Like, well, how does this work? Like, what's life like? Like applying to job, doing all these things. So I've really got to say, highly. What's that? No, go ahead.
You're starting over from the age that you left to go to the military.
It's insane.
You're bringing back that.
And you and I mean, Phil's one of those people that I've always been able to talk to. Like he's one of those people we kind of get into that, but having those people to talk to that you kind of relate to on a different level, just not being scared to do that. But Phil's always been one of those people, and I when we see each other and around each other, I'll kind of brush him in on that, and it is a lot like starting over, and
You're looking for a
crazy.
job. You're going to school. You're doing everything that a teenager's doing
for the first
That's when your
time.
life stopped. Yeah, you didn't get to do it
Gotta
when
be.
you were that age.
Yeah.
It's gotta be tough. And I just I respect that though. And like you guys spent your life doing something that you love, or doing something and like actually like defending our country and like doing these things. So first thing I say thank you for that.
Yeah.
But second of all, then you have to like, go out into the world and be this other person now. That's just, I can't even fathom that. So I mean, I understand it's a lot of work, and I've seen my sister struggle with it. I've seen numerous people struggle with it. So
Well,
I know it's not easy.
Right now,
so.
in the forefront of the news is all this stuff about the Abraham Lincoln, and
Yeah.
that's where my head goes a lot of these days. Is those masks that those guys and
Mhm.
girls are out there putting on right now?
Yeah, it's insane.
It's devastating. They don't understand it. They're just pushing through something that's very traumatic.
It's
As a
horrible.
person who only did 98 days straight at sea, I can't even imagine 250 and the stuff that they're dealing with.
Well,
So the masks that those people are putting on, that one day they're also going to be dropped off outside the gate, and they're going to have to deal with all that stuff left off in their heads.
yeah, that's wild. That's insane. But
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Absolutely. Jason, anything you want to add?
Well, I don't know. The mask I wear, it kind of looks just like my face, but that one doesn't have a brain in there. It's like kind of like lights on, but nobody's home, Like just so much different shit going on. It's like I've been taking care of my family, my disabled siblings, and my mom and stuff. And just everything. Sometimes it's like I feel like I'm the sister on what's that movie Encanto, the strong surface pressure. That's
Oh yeah, Encanto.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, and then I wasn't military, but I did work at Home Depot for like 16 years straight and was let go by them. And it's like that part, I just like, oh well, whatever. Don't have to work for whatever douchebag manager flavor of the month. But it's just, I think the part that got to me was apparently you get fired from the company, you get fired from a few friendships too. Because like there's just some people that just kind of ghosted me that worked there, like I was cool with, It's like I guess the real friends show their true colors,
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And that's the one thing I have from the military. The great thing that does come out of that, and the silver lining is I have still lifelong friends that I fought with that I can actually talk to. My buddy Justin, who lives in Florida, I just went and visited him for a couple weeks. He's bought me a house. Having that person that can absolutely, I can't talk about half of my PTSD to my mother. She'll never understand. Or a therapist. I go through therapy, but it's not the same as that guy that can identify. So that's a huge piece to have.
Absolutely.
Right. And I'll just add briefly on there, like a lot of you, it's putting on that strong face, that mask that like everything's fine, and everything hasn't been fine, right? Like I've worked at a lot of schools, I've worked a lot of jobs. Not all of my friends I know, like I've kept jobs for quite a while, but like Jason said, when you leave a job, then all of a sudden you leave those friendships and people, and they start creeping around when they need a letter of recommendation, or if they're looking for work,
or if they want to get the Comic-Con.
Yeah, we get that a lot. Yeah. But
hey, it's like, hey,
I've experienced that with just like divorce, not necessarily like job loss. I've had friends where I've known them for years, and all of a sudden the divorce happens, and they're like, "Oh, I can't talk to you." And all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, Phil, what's up?" And I'm like, "I haven't heard from you in years." Like all of a sudden, what do you want? Like, what do you need?
There's always
people that
there always is.
Well, yeah. I have people that have stopped talking to me from Phillip's divorces. So I completely understand.
No one only helped them.
I didn't do anything.
Time. And they're like, "Fuck Nolan."
Hey Phil, I'm going to talk about my feelings right now. That makes me a little angry. Gotta say, right? I don't like anybody fucking with Phil. So
right.
There you go.
Phil's feelings are important.
Yeah, that's gonna be the spin-off. No, the spin-off's gonna be fucking with Phil.
Right, fucking with Phil. Remember, everybody in high school used to call him fucking Phil. They're like, fucking Phil.
I'm good on Google Maps. I'll find you.
Right.
Oh man. All right. we got 2 more questions. I want to jump to the next one that's pop culture kind of centered. So, has a movie, a comic book, video game, a character, a hobby, any piece of pop culture, has anything helped you through a difficult time? And if so, what is it? And how to help?
Mine's a little obvious. My DCC is everything to me. And what is great about the series is that Matt Denneman and the way he writes is he addresses mental health and how this main character is processing everything and the flashbacks that he gets to stuff that he buried in his past. And it really has helped me redefine and watch somebody that's actually dealing with strife and dealing with actual like problems for somebody who has no more resistance. Was kind of nice to see that in this much of pop culture. And I think that's one of the attractive things about the series is it isn't afraid of the mental health aspect and talking about it.
Definitely.
So,
Don't you crawl, Carl? That is.
Yeah. So, for me, I mean, lots of pop culture have helped me through really difficult times. Action figures, of course, have been a big one. And I think it's because growing up, we were really poor. We didn't really have much money for anything, you know? So when you start being able to, you know, take care of yourself, pay for your own bills and have money left over, back when it first started, it was shoes, comics, and action figures. You know, that's what I would do. And I remember back when, geez, I was a kid, and for Christmas, all I wanted was an X-Men morph. Like it was the biggest thing for me. I had no idea how you find that damn figure. I wanted it. I didn't know it was super hard to find. Well, Jason and my mom tracked it down, and my mom bought it. And I'll never forget it because that's all I wanted. I didn't want anything else. I wanted this $10 action figure. That was it. And I think that spawned into what me and Jason usually do every year with our toy giveaway for Pastrami Nation, because we know what it feels like to have nothing. But when it comes to like a certain piece of pop culture, for me, it's got to be around the holidays, and it's going to be It's a Wonderful Life. It's going to be a reminder that we're all worth something. And if we're not here, we leave a massive hole. And I think to me, it's an annual reminder about that, because the holidays are hard, because the holidays are a reminder that there's a lot of people that aren't here with us, you know? So for me, watching that movie and always being reminded that, like, hey, you still matter. We're still here. Like it's such an awesome thing. So that would be mine. Who wants to go next?
Love that.
I would say mine was definitely Tombstone. Freaking, because like that was mine and my brother's favorite movie, and then when he passed, that movie just showed me like he had friends and brothers that fucking had his back, like fucking no matter what. That movie's just always, I always watch it like over and over and over. But
I'll be your Huckleberry, yeah.
Right? He's like, you're no Daisy. You're no Daisy at all.
What an amazing movie! Yeah,
I may have a present for you, Phil.
Nice.
Yours.
That is so cool.
it's awesome.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
I was fortunate when the movie was being made. My aunt's best friend was the wardrobe person for it. So like I got to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff too before it became like mine and my brother's favorite movie. And then it just, I don't know, it just always, it's a badass movie. Cowboy movie.
Have you been, Phil? Have you been to Tombstone?
No, it's a
Come
bucket
on.
list.
We need
We got to do a road trip.
We're doing this, Phil.
And then I don't know if this is like pop culture, but the Rose Parade. I have to watch that shit every year. Like I went to it in
Absolutely pop
person.
culture.
I experienced it in person. Fucking horrible.
No,
I couldn't hear none of this shit. I couldn't hear like who's coming up next. The horses pissing and shit, and it's all coming towards you. I'd rather watch that shit on TV. So like those are my favorite like things that helped me get through so many things.
It's funny that you said like it was horrible in person, because another thing would have been for me like professional wrestling. Professional wrestling has been in our lives forever.
Oh, I love that.
And-
That is amazing.
And yeah, you know, like we've seen NXT live a lot. Like it's so much fun to be there. But sometimes I think like if you're in WrestleMania and you're at that top seat and you don't get to hear the announcers, you're like, oh, I'm missing out.
Yeah.
Oh, see, Jason's
Little
got the
Kona
Kona Crush. Yeah. But that was always
That was like my first
our-
time at an NFL game.
it's one of those
First time at an
tiniest
NFL
things you
game. I'm
can
like,
latch onto.
commentary?
Right? Yeah, I
I'm like,
remember.
where's the
same
little
thing when I
yellow
went to my
line that
first game.
moves? Where's the?
Like, what happened? Wait, what? Oh, they're in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm lost. I'm completely lost.
Right.
So I've had a few over the years. So I just want to shout out a couple things more recently that I've found, and then I'll get to the big one. But Ted Lasso deals with mental health in a way that I've never ever seen on a when it comes to men, especially. Like, it's not afraid to really tackle the issues with mental health within sport, not just sports, but like these manly men out there playing, soccer, football, but they're all dealing with these other issues, and it shows that it's not afraid to show men crying, and characters like Roy Kent, who's this tough, like, no nonsense guy, but he has this heart and this core in the middle that's just he's just a big teddy bear, you find out throughout the series. And it kind of shows you it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to be all these things while still
we're
being
all going through something. We're all
like you can still be a man, you can still have these feelings, but it's okay to be vulnerable and emotional. So Ted Lasso is definitely kind of at the top of my list, like right now.
Amen.
Yeah, Ted Lasso's great. Supernatural was a big one for me as well. They kind of had this campaign called Always Keep Going, which is Jared Padalecki's really big about mental health, and kind of a big theme in the show. Like, no matter what demons are getting you down, just keep fighting, like always keep fighting, like don't give up. And that's what Sam Medina always did. And that's one of the, I got the tattoo right here to remind me of that every day. It's right here. Always keep fighting no matter what. But the big one growing up, so Friends was another one. Friends has always kind of been a big part of my life. I love Friends. But kind of growing up and being a kid, believe it or not, which again shouldn't shock anyone, but the Little Mermaid was a huge eye opener for me.
It was a big movie when in our age group.
It's fantastic, big movie
and all that.
Yeah, it was great, and it also like it really showed me. So here's this person, this girl, but I related a lot to her in the sense where she was dealing with, she's kind of stuck in this fog in her own world. Like, she thinks that she wants all these other things. She's dealing, and that was always kind of my way of like, when I think of anxiety, I'm trapped in this little bubble, and I always kind of want to get to the other side, something better. She gets the opportunity to get something better, but she has to completely change who she is. Like, she has to, she loses her voice. She has to learn how to use her body language and all these things to get what she wants. But then in the end, she finds out, what's that?
She lost, like, when she's on land, she loses all her family.
She loses her family. She loses everything. But then in the end, she realizes, no, like, that's not what makes you, that's not what you want. Like, what makes you special is who you are. Like, you struggle with your inner issues, and you still have all these struggles, but you just have to push through it. And people don't love you because of who they think you are. They want to love you because of who you are. And I think that has always been a message that has always kind of stuck with me. And as an adult, even more, watching movies like that, even watching it with my kid, I'm like, it's so deep, and it really is it's about identity and figuring out who you are, and dealing with daily, depression and anxiety and all these other struggles, and just trying to get through to the other side, but realizing that you need to learn how to cope in a different way, where you're still you and who you are, and you don't want to completely change who you are, because this is always who you're going to be. It's just the way it is. And so you just have to find a way to cope with it and deal with it. And whether it's seeking, going to therapy or whatever the case may be. And I'm not saying, tough, like suck it up. You just have to deal with it. But that's the reality of it, right? Like, your anxiety is probably never going to go away. Like, that's just part of life. So you learn how to cope with it in different ways, figure out how to, I don't even want to use the word mask, because masking, I don't think is a good thing. I think, there are different ways to cope with it, like I do. And again, I got an Ariel tattoo because that's what it means to me. It means, like, there's, be who you are, be yourself, learn how to get what you want by being yourself, and don't let these little obstacles get in the way, because they're a lot of the times it's temporary too, right? Like, I think the worst thing is going to happen in an hour, but that hour passes, and I'm like, oh, like, nothing happened. Nothing ever happens. Like I got to sit back and think about that and realize that. And so, so yeah, those are kind of my things. But The Little Mermaid was a really, really big eye opener for me as a kid, and it was just a really fun movie to watch as a kid. And that was also one of those things where it's like, you're a little boy, you shouldn't be watching The Little Mermaid. But I was like, I'm a little boy, but I freaking love The Little Mermaid, so y'all can deal with it. And that was always kind of my big thing. So yeah, those are kind of the main things. But yeah, those are my kind of pop
I could
culture quotes.
karaoke any song off of that movie.
It's fantastic. It's a perfect movie, like beginning to end. It's the perfect, like if you really watch it. And, what's that?
When I'm cooking and I miss something, the scene where the chef's like, "What is this? How on earth?"
It's so precise and like to the point. And like when I show, like if I was to show like an alien an example of filmmaking, like I'd be like, this is how you plot a story. Like this is how to get from point A to point B in a story, how these characters need to interact, hitting all the points of the writer's journey and things like that. It's all there. Like it's to a T. Like it's insane. But yeah, anyways, yeah, Little Mermaid definitely up there for me.
That's awesome. And
Yeah,
funny,
yeah.
Ethan, you should mention karaoke because I can karaoke every song off of my favorite movie, the 1986 Transformers, the movie.
There you go.
The real Transformers before
you go.
they
Right.
ruined everything. Yes.
It's awesome.
Transformers was like my big thing when I was a kid. Like just we could never afford shit really. So I had maybe one or two if I was lucky, but I just remember my mom taking us to Toy City back when we lived in Santa Ana in like the early 80s. And to me, it was the coolest thing just seeing them, like seeing the Megatron in the box behind. Like, wow, that's Megatron. And like, of course, he looked a little different from how he looked on the cartoon, but that was a big thing growing up. And like Transformers were few and far in between when we were kids, you know, like if you got one, either it got broken, stolen, or dad made you take it back to give him the money for it because he needed whatever. And then, so once I started working and everything, I mean, all the good Transformers had gone. It was like Beast Wars or something, which was still cool. But like the 80s ones that I knew, like if I wanted some of those, I was going to have to eBay and buy something on eBay for a scalper's ransom. And then it just so happened like 2002 or something, they started reissuing all these 80s ones. Like the only one they didn't do was Megatron because they couldn't sell a realistic gun toy in the US. So, but everything else, Optimus Prime, all the different cars and jets, they were coming out and I was buying all of them. Like they were popping up at Toys R Us and stuff. And I remember I was buying one and then I was working at a Quiznos and I saw a girl from Quiznos at Toys R Us shopping with like her sister and her sister's kids. She sees me buying two Transformers. She's like, "Are you buying this for your little brother?" I was like, "I'm buying these for me." She said, "Oh, and are you like 5?" Like, no, bitch, I'm 25. Fucking making up for lost time. Like anybody that would try to cut somebody's hobby down like that is like a special piece of
100%.
Yeah, if somebody, no matter what it is they're excited for, anybody that wants to break them down or put it down is a piece of trash in my mind, you know? But that was my big thing was like growing up that ever since Transformers, the 86 movie and Transformers from the 80s, like that's been my channel. Like, and like Nolan, like different action figures and hats and stuff, but it always reverts back to like Transformers in some way.
Yeah.
That was my thing as a little kid, and it's my thing now as a big little kid.
That's cool though. It's good to have those.
Yes.
Well, and that movie like also introduced death to so many kids
Before that,
die. Yeah, like how many Autobots got
was
killed
our
in
only
a
other
minute.
experience with death was Bambi.
Bastard.
You're
show him
ready for
without
this.
his head to make it more realistic.
I remember that and the Land Before Time were the two.
Oh, Land Before
As a
Time.
kid,
Good.
Oh my God, the tree stars, and then when his grandparents died, it was just like,
I took my kids to see that movie. They re-released it in theaters just for like a day. It was like a Regal thing, and during that, it was this year, and was that and my son like halfway like when that scene happens right after Eli, my son, he looks at me and he's like, "What is the matter with you? Like, why did you bring me to see this?" Like, I was like, "I'm sorry." And then we got to the end of it.
You should have told him free horns don't play with long necks.
Yeah. Okay, so imagine being a kid being told you can't show emotion, and then you're being showed movies like this.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
Your dad's like, "What's wrong with you?" You're just like, "Nothing." You're trying to keep it all in.
It's okay. I got to watch Silver Bullet when I was like 6. I don't know why.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, probably wasn't a good idea.
See, it's funny for me growing up. I was a Ninja Turtle.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
I still have my
Ninja
pizza
Turtle.
thrower.
Oh yeah,
The-
no, I don't.
And I still have my Ninja Turtle sheets. My daughter uses them.
Sweet.
That's
But I tend to like go all in, and I'm realizing that
Now I feel
the ones
vulnerable.
that I appreciate the most are those ensembles, and you have that strong center core like Splinter.
Oh, yeah.
Can rally around them, and Dungeon Crawler Carl. You've got Carl, and you've got
Yep.
this cast that kind of starts forming around him. Those are the stories that I feel like I gravitate to, and why, like, ultimately the Navy was so good for me, because it gave me this cast, this ensemble that kind of rallied around me, and there were times where I didn't have to be the main character. And I think that's where a lot of men's mental health goes wrong. Like, you always think you're the main character in all this, and you're just not, kind of realizing that you're a spec, and that it's more of the
You're just a
ensemble.
character instead of a
Yeah.
main character.
Yes, exactly. I'm reading this book right now, Stoicism for Men. I've been reading it for the last
Interesting.
taking notes, and it talks a lot about that and just looking at things from a little bit bigger view. And it seems to me that Ninja Turtles, all my favorite things, center around that one little aspect.
That's interesting. That's cool, though. That's very cool.
I'm just now figuring this out as I'm talking.
Hey,
Like, honestly.
Who's your favorite turtle?
Ooh.
That's so hard. It's always been, and it never has, but Raphael. I always go to Raphael because he was always the one that was a little mental healthy. He was the one that was always struggling with some kind of angst around what was going on, and so that's the one I always identified. I want to say Michelangelo, but that's more. I see Phil as like a Michelangelo, like, yeah, man, like, cool, let's do it, like,
That's
that
not
attitude.
cool.
So yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That thought probably wouldn't have happened had we not done this.
Me. That's a good reason why we're doing this. All right, so I do have one closing question. It's a two-parter. It's a twofer. So what does being a strong man like for you today? And what would you say to a guy who's listening to this? Maybe he's struggling, but he doesn't want to talk about it.
Talk about it. I gotta answer that second part first. Like, talk about it. Get it out of your head. Don't just sit there and overthinking. Like, you're just gonna dig yourself into a rut where you're not gonna like it. It's gonna be toxic. It leads to suicide. It leads to lots of things. Like, I put myself into therapy because I reached the point of suicide. I had a letter written, everything, and then the ex-wife, when I told her, like, I was thinking about it, she's like, well, it seems like you have a problem, and then just like didn't give a shit. So and then I realized my kids would be the one that would find me if I did something wrong, like if I did that. And I couldn't do that to my kids, like leave them so many unanswered questions, and like, so I was like, what the fuck, Phil? Like, I put myself in therapy, and I'm going on 2.5 years now, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made, was to go and be selfish about something for myself, and that something I had to be selfish about was my mental health. And
So here's the thing to keep in mind for me is that it's easy to say that sitting here, talk to somebody. So we're in a good spot. You're in a good.
yeah,
As we all know, when you get into that dark spot, it feels like nobody can identify. That's the switch that has to be forced. That's that you have to force that switch. You have to get outside.
what helped me was I had to reach out to random strangers and tell them that I was struggling, that not people I knew, because then I felt like the people that knew me were going to judge me. And then, so random strangers, I would just say hi to them on the street, and all of a sudden they're talking to me, and I'm like, oh shit. And this guy's helping me, and I never met him before.
Yeah. It all comes down to honestly just being honest with yourself and being able to know enough, learn as much as you can about what all these. I have this bedtime regimen that I love. It's 8 seconds before you go to bed. and you just have to switch your brain into a positive mode, no matter what has happened to you today. So you just have these several things that you have to do. Make sure you're good with the wife. You're going to sleep good there. You think of the 3 greatest things that happened today, and then one thing tomorrow that you know you're going to do that's a positive thing, then go to sleep. And there's this hypnagogic response. Your brain, whatever mode you put it into as you go to sleep, is what you'll wake up with. So if you feel tired, if you feel like run down, putting and switching your brain and having the wherewithal to do it every night and switching that brain has made a huge change in the way I wake up every day. And so knowing those things, learning them, and then applying them to your life, whatever works for you, that'll make those dark times a little less dark so that maybe you can talk to somebody. That's what's been kind of working for me. And I ain't got it figured out. I still have dark moments. I still have serious periods of self-doubt. But the dark times overshadow that whole statement of talk to somebody sometimes. Mm-hmm. So knowing that, seeing it, and then doing something about it before it happens, that I would say is my advice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much more to add to that, because it's like perfectly said, both of you. I guess I would add personally for me is find your tribe. I think a lot of it, a lot of it does have to do with loneliness and being misunderstood and not finding the right people to be around. And that's the hardest part, especially when you reach a certain age. It's like, who are you going to be friends? Like, it just always reminds me of Clerks. Like Dante and Randall are always kind of going to be friends. And like, there's even the scene, I think it was in part 2, where they're in the prison cell and they're talking about, like, you're my only friend. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like in my late 30s, early 40s. What? Yeah. Like, well, what? Like, well, how do we meet friends? Like, what do we do? Like, like, well, where does our life go from here? Like, so, like, when you reach a certain age, it is tough. Like, I'm 46. Like, I can't just go out and just make friends. Like, I don't know how to do that, like, at this age, especially, me and my wife, we packed up about 10, been living in Portland for 10 years now. And so, like, it's like, I'm still like meeting people and still trying to make friends. And the only friends I've ever really made are the people that I work with. And you guys, like, Nolan and Jason and all you guys, I have on like Facebook and stuff. You guys are truly like my friend group. I don't have that kind of, so like when I go to cons, when I go to Comic-Con, when I go to Rose City Comic-Con, Emerald City, whatever it is, that's when I feel like I'm with my tribe. And that's when I feel like I'm the most happy, even though I don't know anybody there. Like, I might know my family. I'll run into people that I've run to at other cons, but for the most part, I feel like I'm at home and I feel like I'm somewhere I belong. And so for me personally, that helps me. And us going on I know not a lot of people have opportunities to do that, and I understand that. But like, even just going to like free, we have Powell's Books over here that has, I'm sure you guys have that next to your place too, where they have like events with like authors, or like, and most of them are free events. You just hang out, meet people who are into the same things you are, whether it's a book, whether it's, I had for the midnight release of the new Dungeon Crawler Carl book, they had this whole event at midnight at Powell's Books. Just free, just show up, you're with your tribe. People showed up in costume. It was an incredible, I wasn't there, but like, I saw a video and these people were having a blast. Like, they found their tribe. They're hanging out with people who love the same thing they do. And I think that's very, very important, is just finding that. And it's hard. It's not easy. I still struggle every day with finding that. But like I said, I look forward to Comic-Con every year because it's my tribe. It's where I belong. It's where I feel most comfortable. And when I'm there, I thrive. And my wife, she's like, you're very like, I'm a very introverted person, but she's like, at Comic-Con, you're very like, I talk to people. Like, I compliment cosplay. Just go up to a cosplayer and tell them how great it looks and see the smile on their face. And that like makes my day, because I made that human contact with someone. And who knows, that person could have been having a horrible day too. And they hear that stuff and they're like, oh my God, like that made my day. So it's just about that. And again, it's not easy, and I understand that. And what you guys said, it is kind of that part of getting out there and actually doing it, which is the hard part. But yeah, that's what's helped me get through a lot of these times. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's a very I was thinking while you were saying that, Kevin, like
Mhm.
that's a very positive way of looking at it. And it was said most don't have that means.
Right. And
Trauma bonding, you would be surprised,
Mhm.
is an amazing resource.
absolutely.
So even if you're going to grief counseling for a certain thing that you may have experienced in your life, that's probably where you're going to find somebody that you're going to relate to pretty heavily.
Exactly. Yep.
And so that was an advice I'd given to a lot of sailors, and they ended up finding a lot
good.
of friends, people that they ended up actually bonding with. And you don't think about that when you're in it. Like, do I really want to go explore more of this pain?
Right.
Yeah, you kind of need to. You kind of need to. And that's sometimes where you find the biggest revelations. It's just the hard
Yeah.
part of flipping the switch.
Yep. Absolutely.
Like Comic Cons, like the first one me and Nolan ever went to was 2003, and like just blown away by the cool people we met. Like
Yeah.
after dealing with like the shitty high desert mentality, and I worked in a mall, so I saw how ugly people were, and I was like, and you go over there and you're like, wow, well, this is a whole different that. And then when I went to the Art Institute for a little while, and
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'm gonna meet a lot of cool, and a lot of the classes, like there was a lot of straight out of high school little teeny boppers that kind of never been told no, and they had this stuck up mentality that I'm an art student and yada yada. But that's where I met Christian, our other podcaster. He was actually one of my teachers.
That's
Super
cool.
guy. And yeah, like I bonded more with him and a couple of the other teachers because like they were more my age frame, and we're just talking about Comic-Con and stuff. And I'm like, that wouldn't have happened if I didn't come here. And like, but then there was always those teachers. Like there was one guy that was like, there was a lady that was like 50, and I think I was like 35 at the time. Everybody else was like 18 straight out of high school. And then this teacher, this guy, some asshole named Batista had the nerve to sit there and say, she's just asking him about her grade. And he's like, it's good to see older people like you and Jason continuing their education. And I was like, fuck this guy.
Jesus.
35, I guess I'm a senior citizen. I can get the $5 moons over my hammy at Denny's now.
You've been waiting. I know.
Yeah. Life finds a way.
For moons over my hammy.
Do they still have that?
I don't know. I haven't been to Denny's in
Yes,
years.
yes, they do. I recently took my two teenage siblings. Well, my daughter's 20, but I took them to go see a Tech Nine concert.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And we went and ate at Denny's beforehand, and both of them are their fathers. All three of us had the moons over my hand.
Yes. Yours was only $5 though, right?
Yeah.
You get senior and military discount.
That's awesome.
Can't double up. Oh man.
And Tech 9, that's badass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it must have been a cool show.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. It was weird. It's and that's what I'm loving about this. I could be depressed that the kids don't need me as much anymore. I could wrap my head into all that stuff, but honestly, you find a way to live those little moments with them now because they're off living their own lives, and that's so much more fun. Because you get to do stuff that and watching my daughter, who is a very goth girl, Phil knows Morgan, at jumping around at a Tech Nine concert was just,
that's so cool.
I just had to stand back and just witness it because this is like playing Mad Libs for me.
Awesome.
So that's those things is that we have those times where we have to turn the page and turn that chapter, and if you look at it the right way, it can actually be better. So
yeah,
there's always a future. There's always another page to turn until you're dead.
It's crazy because
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like with my daughter, like I said, my son's 19, so he's kind of off doing his own thing, and I've kind of come to terms with that. But like my daughter, she's 14, and she's starting to hang out with her friends more and like kind of separate herself from us. And my wife, she has to tell me like, look, like she's a teenager, she's gonna do her thing. Like she's got to hang out with her friends. But we took her to. She went to go watch Pierce. We took her to her first concert last year to Pierce the Veil, one of her favorite bands, and she had never seen them. And it was this moment. I had the same kind of like thing where it was like, even at that time she was like, kind of starting to separate and stuff. But like we had that bonding moment where I saw her like just fall in love and sing to her favorite band, and it was just like the most like parent thing. But like I like learned to like just love those little moments, because those are the moments that I have with her now. She's already she's gonna be 15. She's already planning her getting her driver's license when she's 16. She's got all these plans for the future. Like she's like moving so fast. And I'm like, next thing you know, it's gonna be, she's gonna be 18, 19, living her life, doing her thing. And I got to come to terms with that. But right now I'm just trying to live those little moments when she actually wants to hang out with us. Like she's a very cool kid when she does, but like sometimes it's like, it's really hard. Again, she's on her phone. Teenagers, it's just the way they are at a certain age. But but yeah. So no, I get that, and just being able to be there and enjoy those little moments and turning that page, man. Like that pages are always turning, and it's going to be happening for a long time. But anyways,
write a new chapter. If
Yeah.
you're not happy, like if you're not happy, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Like do something to do something that
Exactly.
that improves your situation, or we are not, the generation before us was those stubborn people who couldn't pick the good stuff out of all the nonsense and the bad stuff that they had. They didn't have that mechanism, and we're starting to have it today. I mean, us having this conversation is pure evidence of that.
Fantastic.
So
we're not at a bar getting drunk talking about it either.
No, yeah.
I mean, we
Right,
could be
right.
having beers.
Okay with that.
Okay, pulls a bottle out.
I got some tequila right over there.
I'm up for a live one. We could do a live version of this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man.
Would we actually
But,
have pastrami on the table if we had like a live session? Would it be pastrami?
Yeah, if we ever met live and did one, we would go to Apollo. We would pick up a few Pastrami Nation sandwiches. And we would have some alcohol.
Apollo, best restaurant. Oh my goodness.
It would. We would have to do it. Like, we would just have to do it. So if anybody's ever like,
My buddy
Oh, yeah.
Ethan's brother-in-law, they're best friends with the people that own that.
Oh, Victor.
Oh, is that
Victor was?
Christian Beppo's
Christian
place?
Yeah.
yeah, they're fantastic people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're really awesome.
I
Let's do
still
a
haven't been
toy
taken
giveaway.
there. I would love. I would absolutely love that.
Well, okay. Next time everybody's in the high desert area, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
I'm always
Cool.
in the
Yeah.
higy desert area, so
Yes, same. I'm 30 minutes away from where Jason's high desert area is.
I'm looking down on all of you from my
up in the
mountaintop.
Oh man. Well, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate everybody just talking about it. This is our very first episode of Pastrami Nation After Hours, and thank you for just being here. Thank you for your input, for what works for you, and just talking about how life is. We're not pretending we have the answers. We clearly don't. But we can talk to you about it. We can talk to each other about it, and then we get through life that
I
way.
still trip out that I'm
We'll work
somebody
through progress.
the kids think is an adult. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm responsible for people.
Right.
me, yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I got the first three. I got the 22-year-old with his own 4-year-old, and then I got the 19-year-old and the 18-year-old, and then I got my 9-year-old.
That's
And then
nice.
the two boys are going to the Army, I guess, in a few months, and then Abby's going to the Air Force.
I was at Abby's graduation. I work at the same school, but it was ridiculous for me to see her like grown up. And I was there. I was a chaperone at prom, and to see her at prom, a grown up, and it's really hard because I remember when she was that little girl.
You know what feels
I-
weird is like when people, for me, it does when people say, "Here you are, sir." Like, I don't know. It makes me feel like old. And shit.
yeah.
Like, call me shit.
You are
call me-
old.
Call me sir.
Mr. Gutierrez, and I'm like, where's my dad? Like,
You turn around and he's right there. You're like, oh shit.
yeah, I'm like, oh shit.
Well, free to leave a comment. Let us know what you think. We'll definitely be back to tackle more hard topics in the future. And make sure you visit pastramination.com. Make sure you follow us all across social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're on there. Don't say it, Jason. We're not on MySpace.
MySpace.
No.
Flinkster.
America Online.
But thank you. But thank you if you're watching it. Thank you. Please give it a share. Give it a like if you liked it. If you didn't like it, let us know why. And we look forward to doing this again and tackling more hard topics. And if you're going through something, you got to keep going through it. If you're going through hell, keep going. Right? That's one of the quotes I've always loved. So
I'm going to say you gotta go through more hell to get to heaven.
If you're going through hell
there
as a
you go.
job, just remember, a manager is a bully you can't hit while at the store. So you got to find them at Arco.
Yeah, you just got to find them off the clock.
I like how specific Jason was on that. I mean,
Yeah.
So that cheers, boys.
right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys.